What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show. We discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about on a daily basis, including the stimulus check update, fourth stimulus package update, and daily news, including money, investing, the stock market, the price of gas, and inflation. We cover it all here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below right now, as it's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks so much for hitting the like button for us down below. In this video, we got a lot to talk about here. We're going to talk about a new bill that was just introduced in Congress for monthly stimulus checks because of the price of gas. We're going to go over this new bill that was just introduced. I'm going to show you the details here on the screen and how this is going to be very important because the price of gas might be going even higher. Well, because of this. Check this out.
And following an attack this weekend on Saudi oil facilities. Joining us now is Goldman Sachs head of energy research, Damian Corvalin. And Damian, I guess if you thought that the energy volatility was coming down and that we've seen the high in prices because they did decline sharply last week, that's absolutely wrong. Now what do we expect?
Yeah, so we think from here, the move is still higher. We have a significant supply shock on a market that was already historically tight. And the only buffer you have today really is demand reduction, right? We don't have any inventory buffer. OPEC has very limited ability to ramp up and no desire to do so. And so really it has to come out of demand. And that takes another meaningful leg higher. Our forecast is 135 for the second half of this year. Now, a lot of uncertainty, you point out to the price volatility, so you should expect that. But again, we're losing a lot of barrels right now.
What about the prospect of Europe joining America's Russia oil embargo? First of all, is that even possible? And second, is that in the market? What would that mean in terms of how much fewer barrels of oil come out of Russia?
So it would be a significant shock for Europe and for Russia. And that's why Europe has been reluctant so far, and particularly countries like Germany, who are very dependent on Russian oil. So you've seen the countries that have implemented it least exposed, right? The UK, the US. Based on recent statement, we would still think Europe waits to implement that because it is a significant shortfall for them. But it clearly tells you which way those sanctions are going, right? The escalating sanctions are the deterrent for other buyers. And that's why Russian exports are falling right now. You know, under sanctions, you can export energy. But because buyers are reluctant to do so, this is having a material impact already.
And what about Saudi, which I mentioned? We saw the attack on the Aramco facility. There's also some articles today discussing the relationship between Biden and the Saudis and how we've lost them a bit. What is the status of that relationship and whether they can step in? Saudi Arabia can step in here and help the U.S. and Europe, the West, meet the demand that's being lost from Russia.
Yeah, a few points there. So first of all, OPEC decisions have to be unanimous, right? So within the group, you have Russia, you have Iran, Venezuela, who all see some leverage from higher oil prices. So that makes a decision difficult. Until the last few days, second, it wasn't obvious that Russian exports were falling, right? We're still loading barrels contracted before sanctions. I think finally now we're starting to see some evidence of that. Third, in this current geopolitical environment, it may take more to see the group respond. Think as well from a Middle East perspective, they're sending a lot of barrels to China. Russia wants to send barrels there. So that's also complicating their calculus. So in the end, there is a little bit of capacity left. Probably takes sustained high prices to bring it on, but doesn't really solve anything, right? We're looking at second lowest spare capacity. And if that comes online, there is absolutely nothing left, right? We have zero inventory buffer. We'll have zero spare capacity in a world where high food and fuel prices typically drive social unrest and disruption. So those barrels coming online maybe help prevent rationing, but they don't really help solve the critical tightness of the oil market, which takes me back to the core of our bullish view, which is there's only one solver here, which is reducing demand through higher prices.
Yeah, and if we look at the national gas prices here, the average, they have kind of stayed the same here. But the problem is now with that new attack and the price of oil going up. I'll get to that here in a second. You can see the national average gas price here in the U.S. is $4.25 a gallon. It's come down from a week ago, but very slightly, only 7 cents, about 1 penny per day from 4.32. The high was 4.33. But remember, when we were going up, it was going up some days 10 cents per gallon. Some days 7 cents, some days 8 cents, some days 10 cents per gallon. But when it goes down, it only goes down a penny per gallon. Yesterday it went down 0. So and that's when oil was falling. Oil's been falling for days, and now it's going back up. So that's the problem here. And you can see a month ago we were only at 353. Now we're at 425, and the only thing that's really happened in the last month is the war, Russia on Ukraine, which is just really a sad situation. It's affecting all of us. The price of diesel, 504. A month ago it was 394. So that is up $1.10 in just 1 month, and that affects the price on our food, the price on everything, the price on all of our stuff in stores, and I'll actually get to that here in a second. But the price on oil has gone up here in the last 24 hours. It's getting way up there again. The Brent crude almost up to 120, and WTI crude at about 115. 114.9. So we're getting back up there, nearing 120 and 115 here. You remember that these were down below 100 just a few days ago. So this shows how volatile these markets are and how any little thing can really change and how quickly they can go up and down. The problem is that they seem to go up more than they go down. And the problem with this is fuel prices is affecting everything and causing everything else to go higher. Check this out.
Farmers in Ukraine try to plant crops as the war rages around them. The cost of both bread and corn already higher. Wheat prices up 5% today alone, up nearly 40% since the invasion began last month. The surge marks wheat's largest quarterly gain in 15 years, and the price of corn up more than 15% in the past month. CNBC's Seema Modi reports on the potential impact these high prices could have here at home.
Higher wheat prices should make farmers like Nicole Berg, the owner of this 21,000-acre farm in Washington, feel rich. But the costs of fuel and fertilizer are eating into profits.
The issue we're having right now is that input costs are going up even more than the price of wheat.
Nicole, like many farmers, is also constrained by the agriculture equipment market, where supply chain issues continue to delay orders of key machinery needed to plant and harvest.
We have to put a deposit down, so I have money going out, but I can't even get the drill until possibly the fall of 2024.
Last month, John Deere said order books for the upcoming year are mostly full. With planting season of spring wheat just weeks away, farmers in states like Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota are faced with a tough decision. Should they plant more crop, not knowing whether prices will hold up?
Is it worth the risk? Prices are very high now, but what if the Ukraine crisis suddenly evaporates? Doesn't look like that. Well, then they could be left holding the bag.
Unlike other countries like China that have been stockpiling wheat and other crops, the production of wheat in the U.S. has steadily declined in recent years, down 35% from its recent peak. Dwindling supply as the war continues, experts say, a crisis like this with a potential seismic level loss of wheat supplies globally will impact low-income consumers the most.
In places like the United States, we'll draw down the reserves that people have and are owning, and we will have to run the price up high enough to reduce demand somewhat.
Well, as of now, here in the U.S., no signs of a shortage, but Americans continue to see even higher prices at the grocery store. Cereal is 15% more expensive than a year ago. Bread is higher by 10%. A number of shoppers we spoke to say if prices continue to rise, they will start to cut back.
Yeah, so and all this has kind of prompted lawmakers both on the state level. If you've been watching my channel almost every day or two or three, we have a new state proposing state stimulus checks, state pausing the gas tax, all sorts of different states proposals and actually going through with it. We have multiple states doing state stimulus checks this year, and multiple states did them last year, and pausing state gas taxes, among other things. And on the federal level, we just now have a new bill that was introduced in Congress for monthly stimulus checks because of the high price on gas. Let me show you. Yeah, you can see here House Democrats unveil a plan to send monthly gas checks or stimulus checks, whatever you want to call it. It's a check to Americans and provide relief from rising prices because this is, inflation is already at a 40-year high at 7.9% from last month. And it's going to be even higher this month when we get the inflation numbers. This is an actual bill that was introduced by U.S. House of Representatives from the Democrats. Here are the details. Now, this differs from the other proposal here, from this proposal, which is $300 a month for gas vouchers, which you could then redeem for cash as well. So this is a little bit different. I'll go over that here in a moment, but let me give you the details of this one, which was just introduced. 3 House Democrats just introduced a bill to provide Americans with monthly direct payments or checks through 2022, or at least while prices remain exceptionally high. Representative Mike Thompson of California, Lauren Underwood of Illinois, and John Larson of Connecticut. John Larson is also the leading representative of the Social Security 2100 Act that wants to increase Social Security benefits for seniors to 125% of the poverty level, which would raise Social Security benefits to $1,341 per month as well. Introduced, or where am I here? Unveiled the plan, and it would provide $100 monthly checks to individuals per person. Okay, so it would be basically on a yearly basis would be $1,200 per year or every 12 months per person. Okay, and $200 to couples per month, while national gas prices is above $4 a gallon or above. Households would also be able to claim an additional $100 for each dependent they claimed on their tax returns. Okay, so basically, if you're a single person, $100 per month. If you're a married couple, $200 per month. If you have one dependent, $300 per month. If you have 2 dependents, $400 per month. If you have 3 dependents and your married couple, $500 per month. So basically, the easiest kind of way to look at this is on a 12-month basis would be $1,200 per year per 12 months, which is basically the size of the first stimulus check, but it's per person, including dependents. So one person, $1,200 for 12 months, 2 people, $2,400, 3 people, $3,600 for 12 months, 4 people, $4,800. The average family is two people and 2 children, 2.2. So it really depends on the size of your thing. It would be paid out on a monthly basis. So if you're just 2 people, $200 per month every single month, which would basically kind of make up for a lot of the extra inflation that people are paying right now, which kind of goes back to where the gas prices were back around 2008, 2009 when we seen that recession. We did see gas prices above $4 a gallon back then. So yeah, so an extra $100 a month per person. I'll get to that other proposal here in a second to give you guys the difference on that. Give me a moment here. Quote, Americans are feeling the impact at the pump of Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. And right now, we must work together on common sense policy solutions to ease the financial burden that my constituents are feeling, Thompson said in a statement. The income thresholds are similar to those of the third stimulus check issued last year, basically, pretty much the same. Individual tax filers making under $75,000 and couples making $150,000, so two people, would qualify for the cash. Singles earning above $80,000 and joint filers earning more than 160 wouldn't be eligible. It doesn't mention um, singles head of households. Um, we'll have to get more details on that. It comes as Democrats scramble to try and address high prices at the pump in the wake of Russian invasion of Ukraine. The average price per gallon nationwide stands at $4.25, according to AAA, dropping only 8 cents from a week ago. Part of the reason for the dip, the group said, is the lower prices for crude oil. But the problem with that is that we're now seeing oil start to go up for the reasons that we stated earlier. So that's the issue here we're seeing. I'm very interested in all the ways to get relief to that driver at the pump, said Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, the chair of the Senate Finance Committee, told Insider last week. I'm looking at it. Senator Bernie Sanders is also a co sponsor of another plan introduced by Representative Ro Khanna of California and Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island that would provide quarterly payments to Americans funded by a tax on profitable oil companies. I'll show you that here in a second as well. Other Democrats' measures on the table include suspending the federal gas tax for the rest of the year, which some states are doing as well. Maryland and Georgia have now passed laws or temporary bills to suspend gas tax in their states. And Florida has suspended their gas tax for 1 month, but not until October. So they're going to wait 7 months, ironically, the month before their governor goes up for reelection. So a lot of controversy over that one. But the other states are not waiting. They're doing it right away. And there's a lot of other states that are doing this, as well as issuing stimulus checks as well. If you've been watching my channel, I'm covering all this as they come out with it, as they propose it. So make sure you watch our videos. I'll be covering those as they come out. There's also two other proposals on the federal level. Number one are gasoline vouchers worth $300 per month, which is really, really nice because that's $3,600 per year. Those could potentially be per person as well if enacted, which could be for a married couple, could be $7,200 for a married couple, which would be really, really nice. $7,200 for a year. That's awesome. I mean, that's like, I don't know, what is that, like 4 or 5 stimulus checks? Really, really nice amount there. So let's hope that we get something moving in that. And as you can see, the headline, we actually have some economists that are actually backing this new government aid as prices at the pump soar. So we have a lot of support behind this proposal as well, because this is actually the same amount as the child tax credits, those monthly checks that went out all of last year and are currently stalled right now. But remember that Republican Senator Mitt Romney actually has a proposal now from the Republican side. And Mitt Romney's proposal with Republican support is actually for $350 per month for the child tax credits for children under the age of 6 and $250 per month. So the $350 per month would actually equate to $4,200 per year paid out in monthly payments. So this is very possible for the child tax credits and for monthly payments to adults in the form of anti-inflation checks or gas stimulus checks, whatever you want to call them, in these amounts because they were literally paid out last year at those amounts at $300 per month for 60 million people, 60 million children, 60 million families. So this can actually happen because it actually happened last year for over 60 million people. So this is very, very doable. There's also the other bill that was unveiled by Democrats as well last week to issue quarterly stimulus checks to Americans, which would be a stimulus check every 3 months, by taxing oil companies and basically taxing the oil companies, taking a percentage of their profits because they're gouging Americans. Because when the price of oil comes down, it really the price of gas comes down so slowly. It comes down by a penny per day, even though the price of oil was down below $100 a barrel for several days, and then it was only a little bit over $100 a barrel. But yet the price of gas was still at 425, 427 a gallon, and literally politicians and the American people are outraged. And that the price of gas doesn't go down or very slowly, but when the price of oil goes up, price of gas goes up by 10 cents a day. So it literally goes up 10 times higher faster than it goes down. So you can read the headline right here. Democrats unveiled a plan to issue, there's an actual bill in Congress to issue quarterly checks to Americans by taxing oil companies and then using that money to send out checks to Americans. So there's actually a lot of different things on the burner right now for stimulus checks here, for a fourth stimulus check, a state stimulus check, multiple different states. If you've been watching my channel religiously, you know that there's actually multiple different states that have passed state stimulus checks that are going to be coming out soon, that have said there will be state stimulus checks here in 2022, or tax rebate checks, or rebate checks coming to homeowners, property tax rebate checks, or renter rebate checks, all sorts of different checks coming out to people here in 2022, or different types of programs that reimburse people on the state level, as well as stimulus programs. And all these states are literally flush with cash, billions of dollars from the last stimulus package that they're now spending here in 2022. And we have stimulus proposals here on the federal level, and it's an election year. So whether or not that makes a difference, we're probably going to see a lot of action here on stimulus checks on the state level and the federal level, and that could mean actually double stimulus checks for some people, depending on if it's their state and the federal level. So I'll keep you up to date here with everything, as well as daily news and everything you need to know about what's going on here in our country. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below right now so you don't miss out on new videos. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember those times so you don't miss out. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to see some good news for seniors with some, yeah, pretty good news for seniors. You should check that video out here as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.